Geminites, it is Ivy and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello. My name is Ivy, also known as Intuitive IVM here on this channel and on my Instagram and account as Intuitive IVM. I am also the co-owner of an amazing spiritual business company called Unearthly Treasures. So you can check us out at unearthlytreasures.com. I'll also post a link down below. I am also a host of a podcast called The Woo Woo Podcast, a podcast for the spiritually open-minded, which I will also post down below. Anyways, hello, hi, my name is Ivy. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, this channel is all about the magical, the mystical, and the supernatural. So if you are into one or all three of those things, consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on that notification bell to be notified when I post. I usually post 3 times a week. Mondays are for the magical, Wednesdays are for the mystical, and Fridays are for the supernatural. So I wanted to talk about my own paranormal experiences and things that I haven't brought up here. I have talked about in my podcast, but I haven't talked about it here. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about my experience with the paranormal and why I feel like I'm so drawn to it. So let's have a little chat. Grab your tea, your coffee, or your water. I have my fabulous water thing here. And let's go ahead and get started. I'm out of water. Our story begins years ago when my mom was pregnant. This is basically the first supernatural thing that happened in my life before I was even like physically here. When my mom was pregnant, almost full term, she was walking around and she fell. But literally, she told all of her family members that she didn't fall. Like, it literally felt like somebody grabbed her from the floor. Somebody came up, grabbed her, and pulled her down, as if trying to hurt me, not her. So she ended up falling, and she ended up having to deliver me with a broken leg. But actually, even before that, my mom had actually went to... When she was conceiving me, she was told that she can't have children because she already had like one of her ovaries removed. Literally, she had tried for like, she had me at like 39, so she tried for like at least 15 years and nothing. After everything, she finally ended up getting pregnant. And she really wanted a girl. So she ended up going to a Bruja in Mexico. And I use the term Bruja because Bruja is different than witchcraft, which I will do a video on later because I'm actually reading this book called American Brujeria, which is all about like Mexican American witchcraft. But that's a different video for a different day. So she went to see this Bruja. Which I don't know why she went to go see this Bruja. Like, my mom is very much against witchcraft and she's very much against all this. With me, I feel like she just sort of got used to it because she knows that's just who I am. She still doesn't like it. She still really wants me to be a strong Catholic like her, but it's just not in my cards. I don't know why she went to this lady, but the lady told her that she was gonna have a son. And my mom said, no, I don't want a son. And apparently the lady was using some sort of tarot cards. And the lady said, okay, you don't want a son. She did something. And then she was like, okay, you're gonna have a daughter. Thus, the origins, my magical origins begun there. When the Bruja told her, okay, fine, you want a girl, we're gonna give you a girl. And then that freaked my mom out, but she didn't really think much of it because she thought, you know, I don't know. And then that whole thing happened and then afterwards she ended up like, that whole thing happened where something felt like it was dragging her, trying to hurt me, and then I was born. So that's literally the beginning of how I was born. So it literally, my very roots from even before I was born began with the paranormal. Like, it started with the paranormal for me before I was even walking on this earth. And growing up, and I remember for as little as long as I can remember, ever since I was tiny, literally I'm talking, I don't know when's the earliest that you can have a memory. I want to say like age 4. I don't know. I literally remember living in my old house, like my very first like house that I lived in, when I was like 4 years old, and seeing these shadow entities and these shadow beings. And I talked about this again on my podcast, where I would see these shadow people, and sometimes it would just be one, sometimes it'd be two, usually just one though, walking around, and they looked like lizards. They looked like lizard beings, and they were literally about like 2 feet tall and all black. They were shadow beings, but they looked like lizards. They were shaped like lizards, but walking on 2 legs, 2 feet. They had a tail. They had like their little lizard arms, but they were all black. And not only that, but these things started talking to me. And I would hear them in my head, and they would tell me to do these things, like do this or else we're gonna hurt you, do that or we're gonna hurt your mom, do that or we're gonna hurt your dad. They would literally force me to do all these sort of things that I did not want to do growing up. And I grew up from like the age of 4 up until like my teenagehood, and that literally continued all throughout my childhood. So all of my memories of my childhood were like these shadow beings up until I was the age of 12. And I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna listen to you anymore. I'm not scared of you, like get out of my head. And when I really forced it, when I really was like, I'm done with this, and I told them that they have no more power over me, which I was around 12 years old, they stopped. And I think after that I saw them once when I was like 13, but they like, that's it. I like saw them out of the corner of my eye, and I saw them like sneak into this room, and after that never again did they ever talk to me, anything like that. It just goes to show that I feel like you're more powerful than you think. And I thought I was weak, and growing up they fed on this child because I was like, okay, these things are stronger than me, they can hurt me, they're threatening to hurt my family, this and that. And I gave into that. And so it just shows how powerful you are as a person. But like I said, they stopped at 12. So after that, I didn't see those beings again. But obsession with the paranormal sort of started. And then at 13, and I started diving into like witchcraft and like just darker stuff too. And that's when this sort of obsession with the paranormal started. Like, I've always been very fascinated by the paranormal, and I think it's because I've always sought this explanation to why. Like, why did all this happen to me? Why did these things follow me? Why from before I was even born? Why do I have this like magical beginning? What is my purpose? There has to be a reason behind it. There's just so much to it, and I feel like I want answers to everything. I've had crazy experiences where I literally like have seen like past lives, like this is how I passed away. I know this is how I passed away. For example, like I'm terrified of going to Mexico because I love going to Mexico to see my family, but at night I freak the fudge out. I don't know why, but still to this day, even as an adult, when I go over there to see my family, I still get scared at night. I'm not like that here. Here in America, here in Cali where I live, I'm not like that. I don't get freaked out at all. But I don't know why, once I cross that border, I freak out. And I had this dream where I died. I literally got killed, and I feel like maybe that's why. Maybe there's some sort of, or maybe it's because all this that happened to my mom when she was pregnant with me was there, and there's something dark that's sort of rooted in that. I don't know why. I don't know why. And then I was in my 20s, and then I saw the whole thing with the Hat Man, and I began hearing him, and that lasted for about a month. So I have that, and I didn't even know that the Hat Man was a thing until I did some research and realized that, wow, this Hat Man is like a phenomenon that's going around the world that people have seen. And I've talked about my experience with the Hat Man in the Shadow People episode again from my podcast. There's literally so much to it. There's literally so much that I have experienced in my life that's so tied to like me, my roots, and why. Like, why am I seeking these answers, and why I grew up Catholic, and why did I stray away so much from, like, why did I feel like my calling was completely somewhere else? It's like, I really wonder these things. I wonder if like the Bruja like somehow instilled some sort of magic that was then like passed down to me. I don't know. And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm a very spiritual person, so I believe like all that's possible, and I literally want answers to it all. So that's literally my paranormal upbringing. I grew up just surrounded by this stuff, surrounded by the paranormal. I had my house from when I was little, I felt like was very haunted. And it's actually the house that I ended up getting my dog, that she passed away now, where I got her from. But I don't know, and I would always talk to these things. Like, they would talk to me and I would talk to them back, and then even after that I would talk to other things too, not just these dark beings. I did have light beings too that I would speak to, if that makes any sense. I had like, growing up as a kid, I had stuffed animals, and they would kind of counteract the dark beings. So instead of being like negative voices, my stuffed animals, which weren't like regular stuffed animals, they were like scary stuffed animals. Like, they were like gargoyles and demon monster looking stuffed animals. I didn't like regular stuffed animals even as a kid. I've never been like that. They would talk to me too, and I feel like those are like my spirit guides that were telling me like, no, it's okay. And they came through because I was little and I was tied to these stuffed animals. They came through as those stuffed animals because they know that I would trust it. So I've always talked to different beings, both light and dark, and I've had this really strange upbringing and very closely tied into the paranormal, that I'm just absolutely fascinated with it, and that I'm absolutely I need to find answers. I've always believed in magic. I've always believed that I can literally do anything and accomplish anything, and that magic is very real, and that there's so much more to this world. And ever since I was little, I knew that I really believe this to be true, that there's so much more to this world than meets the eye. And still to this day, I believe that there's more to this world than meets the eye. And I'm still very close to like my whole, and then going back to magic and going back to witchcraft, it just seems very natural to me because of my upbringing, and because I was always very close. That was always very near and dear to me. So anyways, you guys, that is my paranormal upbringing and my paranormal life story. And that, like, just so that you guys could see how like close I am to the paranormal, I guess. I don't know, my whole life has been this whole paranormal story. Like, literally, it can have its own book. I don't know. But that's why I'm very close to that's why I love the paranormal, and that's why I am obsessed with it. Just because I need answers too, man. I need answers too. And I've always talked, and ever since I was a kid, I used to talk to things, both light and shadow beings, that like now I want to do it again. And I'm able to do it so clearly with like card readings, but I want to be able to, I know that I have that mediumship ability. Let me know if you have any paranormal upbringing experiences. Also, let me know if you have any answers for me. If you think, you know, like, okay, like this makes sense. Like I said, that's why I want to develop my mediumship abilities, because I did it once before. But anyways, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed my story. And I will see you in the next video.